God fights on the side with the best artillery. It was as the human officer predicted. We were doubtful at first, but we can no longer deny their advice. Our enemy had laid in wait until dawn. This backwater planet star was still some time away from providing daylight when they decided to begin their attack, but we were ready, or so we thought. God fights on the side with the best artillery. We had prepared everything under the cover of night. Our troops sallied out and dug themselves into defensive positions outside our walls. We prepared mines on our flanks. Even some of our fighting vehicles were entrenched to bolster our defenses. But none of it seemed to be enough. God fights on the side with the best artillery. I became engrossed in managing my troops as the fight bled on. Each minute that passed, the enemy crept closer to our lines, and more of our troops bled, too far to be treated. It wasn't until it took a hold of my shoulder plating and pulled me into cover, a stray volley of small arms fire passing over our heads, that I had noticed the human soldier at my side. They poked their head out from behind our cover soon after, their mask and helmet illuminated by a bright white light. Looking over, I could easily identify the flare as it illuminated the bloodshed beneath it. Our troops desperately returning fire, and our enemy much closer than they were before. They were nearly on top of us, our line soon to be overrun. God fights on the side with the best artillery. A whizzing cut through the noise, followed by a loud boom in the distance. A single round had landed behind our enemy. The fighting took a standstill for just a second, only to return to drown out all noise the second after. I turned to the human beside me, desperate for some assurance. Was this all they could give? A single round, off target with no casualties? This was hardly enough. The audacity to say we could trust God fights on the side with the best artillery. The first volley of rounds soon landed. The deafening whistle of steel rain, landing of 100-pound rounds, and the ignition of their payloads clouded my senses. As a jerk reaction, I hit the ground, holding my hands over my head as the thumping of artillery sent rhythmic waves over my body. Each round landing right after the other, each one hitting their mark. I could swear that with each volley the thumping would only get stronger. Then, finally, the last volley had landed. I slowly peered out from my cover. The star had finally shone above the hill, and it revealed a desolate wasteland of craters upon craters. It stretched from the far end of the valley, and stopped right before the first defensive line. When my senses returned, I realized that it was dead quiet, all except for the sound of a metal clinking to my side. I turned to see the human without their helmet, lighting up a cigarette with a smile on their lips. I looked down at their chest plate, daylight revealing an overlooked painted cross. They must have seen me staring to have known what I was about to ask, because before I could part my lips, they answered. God fights on the side with the best artillery, and God is always with us.